Hi everyone. Hi. My name is Esther. 안녕하세요. 한국 이름은 김에스더예요. 네, 한국 이름 없어요. 네. Okay, and I'll be speaking in English just because I'm more comfortable speaking that way. For me to introduce myself, it was 2 years ago since I came back from competing in K-pop Star Season 4. Right now, I don't really know how to introduce myself because it's not fresh, but it's very just in the past too. But yes, I love to sing. Okay, let me just introduce myself. I was born in Daegu in Korea, and I came here when I was 5 with my mom and my brother. My dad came later, but I don't really have anything that I do. This testimony, it was hard for me to kind of organize this because I don't have a success story. It's not like I was dirt poor and then I was rich all of a sudden. There's nothing so extravagant about my life right now, but what is extravagant is just how God has changed my perspective of who He is and how that's been changing my life slowly. And this testimony is really just going to be about who God is and His nature, I guess. As a kid, I was just very bright and bubbly all the time. It's like I'm the same now, it's just I've matured. I think so, at least. I do remember just liking singing, but I was never the type of person to be so passionate and submerged in it. I wasn't the type of person who would, say no to all my friends and go inside to practice. I really did not do that, which I sometimes question myself, because if I practiced, then I would have been at a better place than I am now. And I remember when I was younger, it was on those times where, American Idol, they had young girls around 9, 10, or 11. They were the best, the kid singers in the world, they can hit the highest notes or whatever. And I remember just being wow, I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. I don't think I'll amount to anything special because I can't hit those high notes. And I felt just very, not discouraged, but I just thought it was just a normal thing to think, Who am I? I came here at 5 and I'm an Asian girl, and, not a lot of Asians are seen on TV anyways, and it's just kind of not a dream that I've ever, thought about dreaming. I remember just going to school and coming back home. This occurs to my life to this day, but I remember specifically feeling so empty coming back from anything that I was doing. There was no part in what I did that made me feel whole. But I think that's really Holy Spirit really revealing that emptiness in my life, because without it, then I wouldn't really be able to recognize it, because people just go about their day just doing what they do. But I remember even after a talent show, or even after K-pop Star, even I was just feeling empty. And even if I were to drive the best car in the world, or have everything that I wanted, spend money on makeup that I actually really like to do as a hobby. But anyways, if I really did all of that stuff, at the end of the day, those are gonna be things that I'm never gonna be able to keep, And I was kind of I was kind of distraught, and I started questioning my life and what I was supposed to be and why I'm on this earth. And if God really sent Jesus to die on the cross for me, why am I not experiencing something, extravagant, Those are the things that I asked myself. And I think that was the pursuit of God in my life, because without Him, He is the one that gave me these questions that I thought that I asked myself, I just began to wonder about my identity. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys feel it too, even with your jobs. I don't know if you guys are doing anything that you really love to do, but I just felt like I wanted to do something that made me feel whole. And even if singing was my talent, there was nothing that singing could do for me. And it's just recognition, anything like that just didn't really cut it out for me. yeah, and I wanted more. And so I just began to ask God, like, God, if you're really there, could you kind of just give me this life that, since you are the most creative artist in the world, you know, technically he designed this whole universe. There's nothing, he's been teaching me that he's not like an old haraboji, like he doesn't like lag behind us and it's like, oh wait, no. Like he goes before and he sits on his throne and like he just owns it, you know? He doesn't really, like, he is a trendsetter. He's just powerful and he knows what's going to be good in the eyes of people living like 10 years from now. Like he knows everything. Like he is in everything. And I think that's what he's been revealing to me. Yeah. And while I was a child, like when I was 11, my dad actually passed away from a heart attack. And at that time, it's just, it just went by, I think. I don't really recall a lot of things where I experienced like a total hardship. Of course, I was like completely heartbroken, but I think from then on, like I remember asking God, like, God, you took away my dad, and I don't know what this is about, but I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust that you have something greater that you're gonna give to me. And I think that was also Holy Spirit, because without Holy Spirit, I would not have been able to make that declaration with my mouth. And from then on, I started to see things, how God was molding me and shaping me. At my church, church was a huge part of my life. And because there was not a lot of leadership at my church, it was just very plain. It was, I was like a worship leader ever since I was in 6th grade, but like, there's a lot of leadership positions that never were steady. I never had like the same teacher for like a long time and stuff. And I realized I was like being really bitter because, not at God, but at like the teachers and the staff and stuff. But I think what happened was like, because of that, God called me into doing things that I would have never done with the amount of leadership that if there was like a lot more leadership and in church. So it really built myself up. I think God really called me to a direct connection. He wanted to build me from the roots of the Bible and the Word and not from people, you know? And I think that's so awesome because you could just see like God's pursuit after your own heart in that aspect, which is awesome. And growing up at church, he just really built my character. And that's like, it was very steady after my dad passed, like nothing crazy happened. It's just very steady, like it's like day by day. You're like, okay, I want to change, and like you go day by day, and then like 5 years pass and you're like, wow, I've changed. But you don't really see the in-between, you know? That's kind of where I am right now. But I just remember after saying that to God, he has slowly but surely shaped my life into how it is right now. And I can tell you that he's been revealing to me who God is. At first, okay, this is just another, this is a miracle story. Sorry, I'm like all over the place, but I don't work well with scripts, like reading off like, hello, my name is, yeah, I don't do that stuff, so, okay, bear with me. This is a miracle story. Before I went to K-pop Star, I remember, you know, I'm not a citizen here. By all means, I'm very like, I'm not in the best situation to live in the US right now, but there was like no chance that I would be able to go out into Korea and come back. There was no chance. Like the lawyers would just be like, just hope for the worst because this is like not very, you know, probable. And after I made the first round in LA to K-pop Star, of course I wanted to go, you know? It's like a free plane ticket, like, yeah. And plus I wasn't able to see my family for 10 years, like in Korea. So my harabaji and my harmony, like I wanted to see them. So like, it was just like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna see if God really allows this. And so me and my mom went to the lawyer's office and then we did the applications and everything, and they said that it wasn't possible. Like they said that there was probably no chance. And surely it seemed that way. We took our applications and we did exactly as they told us to. We went to like every office, like the USCIS office, or if you guys know, I don't know. But we went to like 5 different ones. I missed like 2 weeks of school. Like, that's probably, people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I think that's the best thing that I ever did. But I missed 2 weeks of school, going around to each office being like, hey, could you give me this document that allows me to go out and come back in? And it would only like be like available to people that are like either like their family members passed away, but I wanted to go for like a freaking like talent show, you know? Like, it's not an emergency or anything, but I remember writing a letter in my application, and I remember like tears dripping onto the letter, and I was, yeah, I remember that, and I know that God really helped me to open up my heart and pour my thoughts into that letter, and yeah, it was just an act of faith, I guess. I was testing. I was like, God, I really want to know if you're real. I really do, because if you're not, then that means that like the things that I've been living for and believing up to this point is like not real, you know? But surely he was testing me to the end. I was like going to Civic, and I was like, God, I just want to go to K-pop Star, let me compete. And I think it was more in my spirit for me to figure out if God was real or not, or if he answers prayer or not, than for me to actually go out there and compete. You know, I wanted to see if what I've been living for, the VBSs that I've gone to as a kid, like if that really sums up to something, you know? And I think, because I remember clearly before this experience, I muttered it. It's like a line that just kind of like, it's like a butterfly line that I've said to God. I was like, God, give me an opportunity for me to pray and like see if you're real or not. Like, it was very like, just it passed by. I didn't pray for it, I just kind of said it. And God held on to that very thing to show me and give me an opportunity to be obedient in prayer and ask for things that I desire. God, and he's been showing me like his nature. His nature is that he won't hold back the things that you want and you desire. Like, even for my mom right now, she is, you know, a single widowed mom, and she's been working at a clothing store for like 6 years, you know, facing like discrimination from like her like employees. She's an employee, she's not even a manager, right? Because that's like the position that, you know, God has given her to this time. And right now, God has been unfolding her previous dreams now through prayer. And it's all beginning with how your thought changes about who God is. If you begin to, I just realized that like, if I believed that God was someone who punished me for like the things that I did, it just turned out that like I would be like something bad would happen to me. It just happens to be that way. And whenever I would just tell myself like, oh, God's nature is not like that. He loved me so much that he died on the cross for me. He wanted to be with me. He wanted to be my dad. He wanted to have a relationship with me. And if I thought about that and kind of taught myself to rethink the things that I've thought about God, then my life just began to change. I mean, there's just some things in my life right now that are going in directions I've never even thought I'd be able to go to. And hopefully I'll be able to share another testimony on that, because it's like I'm in the process of it again. It's like K-pop Star 2.0. But yeah, it's awesome that God he's been telling me who he is. And this is kind of like what he's been teaching me directly, even to this day. Like, he's like, God is not a mean God. God is not serious all the time. He can crack jokes with me. The dreams and passions I have are from God. Whether it's dancing or anything on this earth that you could possibly dream, they're from God. Like, that's what he's been teaching me. Like fashion, anything that seems secular, it just seems secular because Satan has had a whole grip on it for such a long time. I think God has been able to loosen up my thoughts about that. And God isn't an old grandpa, he's a trendsetter. And he is the most creative mentor and artist that you will ever encounter in your whole lifetime. So this is my prayer nowadays, is for God to show me, this is what I pray, God, Dad, I want you, the best author in the world, to make my life into a story that's like so different from everybody else, and something that's so extravagant, something that's made from your creative writing and your writing alone. Because he's like the origin of all these amazing artists that you see in this world, you know? And I think a lot of people, like for me, I used to think that like God was separate from my life and like the things I wanted to do, and God was like just religion. But He is like in everything. Like, and I think that's just so beautiful. That God's been teaching me, that He's been turning my thoughts about religion. Like, that He invited us, He just wanted a family in the beginning because He's so good. He wanted to have children who He wanted to love and to just be with. That's so simple, but that's all He wanted. And the fact that that's all He ever wanted, and the fact that the hardships that I've gone through is just so that He could reveal to me how big His heart is for me, I think that's just crazy. I think that's absolutely insane. That my God, my dad, He just wants to show me love. That's all. And that love in itself, after that love follows your dreams, your passions, your whatever, like whatever you want to do, everything that comes out of your mouth, like that's all that follows His amazing, amazing love that just never, dies down. For us, we'll never be able to understand, but I think the main point is that one word that came out of my mouth and one thought that crossed my mind changed everything, because He raised my awareness of the situation of my life, and I think that just took my life into another level. And I'm not here to say that I'm like, I'm not successful right now. I'm still a student. I just graduated, and like I'm not doing anything, but I'm just gonna declare over myself and over you guys too that something great, like great is like so overused, but something really good and great is going to come in all of our ways. Yeah. And that is just my testimony and what I wanted to share. Okay, and